You eat too much.
Tom.
Gluttony, yeah.
We're just going to start. Okay, welcome to City Council for tonight, November 20th, 2019. We're going to begin with an invocation by Councilman Adams and then the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Harley.
Our Father in heaven, we're indeed grateful this evening to be able to attend this city council meeting, and we're grateful for the opportunities that we have to serve in the community, and we're thankful for all our staff and employees that work hard to keep our city running and to service our citizens throughout the city with those things that they need to help them in their lives. This evening, we're grateful for the moisture that we're receiving as it's much needed, and pray that we will continue to get the moisture we need to help us throughout the rest of the season. And so we'll have water next spring to carry us through on those things that we need and for our crops. We ask you this night, blessing upon our first responders, our firemen and police officers who serve our community and help to keep neighborhoods and our city safe, and controlling those things that are necessary to provide the quality of life that we have here. We're grateful again for all the many blessings that we have, and pray for thy Spirit to guide us this night as we discuss the items here, that we'll be able to come up with those solutions that will best help the citizens of our community and all involved. And these things we pray for in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We will now move on to our agenda order approval. Are there any items the council would like change from the published agenda? And if not,
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll go to council business. Is there anything?
Dancing with the Stars is tomorrow night. Come out and check it out if you want to see some community stars dance and raise a little money for the Children's Justice Center. It's always a good cause, and I think it will be, I'm hoping it will be a lot of fun.
What he said earlier is it will definitely be live.
It will be live.
All that means.
All right. Do one of you want to, either Craig or Terry, talk about the opportunity zone thing yesterday?
I can do that.
Just briefly, so the other council members can know that happened. And
You may or may not know that we have two opportunity zones as defined in our city. And those zones are opportunity zones in the sense that we are trying to attract capital and projects to those zones that'll be of benefit to the community. One runs from Main Street all the way out past Port 15, and the other one runs down our historic Main Street to the south of town. What opportunity zones do is provide people who have capital gains with an opportunity to invest those capital gains and defer taxes on those capital gains. So it's the best of all worlds. We get a capital infusion and can help along really important projects for our community, and investors from anywhere in the country can come and invest capital gains money. So it was put on by Danny Stewart, and Brad did most of the work, but it was just a great event, a great collection of projects and money providers and investors, and those of us who helped those things along. It was a great event, and it's the first of its kind in our state, and I really believe that we've created a template for opportunity zone presentations throughout the state. Great event.
That's good
Did I
summary.
That was
Is that okay?
great.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a nice summary. All right. Remember that Monday is our Christmas lighting event.
Holiday happenings, it says on the little poster.
That's right.
Yes, well, I didn't have that in front of me, so I figured one of you did. And it starts at 6:00 and it's outside. And another one I was asked to let you know, there is the Veterans Wreath across America, where you have the Christmas wreaths on all of the veterans' graves in Enoch. They're starting that this year. It will be in Enoch this year. They're hoping to do it in Cedar in the future, but that program is December 14th at noon at the Enoch Cemetery.
Okay. And Mayor, I just wanted to, on behalf of, I think, all the council, we made some congratulatory comments while you were away, but congratulations to you and welcome back into the seat as a mother now, along with your mayoral duties. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's my first time away from her, so it's a little interesting. Okay, we'll move to staff comments.
Good, that means it'd be
You're
short.
doing it as Ryan.
No, I am. So Jeff Hunter wanted me to give you guys a heads up. He's going to come next week and give you a far more articulate explanation. But long story short, Cedar City Corporation owns a 1972 Cat diesel bulldozer. And we don't know how many hours is on it because we've replaced the meter a few times. And it is currently not operating. The estimated bill to fix it is $72,000.
Ooh.
Jeff would like to approach the council and ask if he could purchase a new Cat.
Oh.
He's looking at a specific model. It's a little bit smaller, but has some features that he likes better as far as how the blade maneuvers and some of its maneuverability features. It's just shy of $400,000. So if you have questions over the week, please contact me or Jeff and we can get you more information, but we'll bring this back to the next work meeting.
You said 400,000?
Just shy of 400.
Holy
So
moly.
the
That's the one he wants to buy, D6.
It's a D6 XL Pat.
They're nice.
He says what he could do with the blade is better than the larger machines. and
They're
it's
amazing. I ran
more
one of them this
functional.
year and they're good. So what's the one he's selling? Do you know what size the one he's selling? The older one?
D7. It says the model number is a D7G, 1972 vintage.
Boy, that's old.
He
Okay,
doesn't.
that
So
was-
he offered it.
Even
About the
in
one I grew
in
up
my
on.
world, that's-
I grew up on a D7.
He offered to trade it into Wheeler, but the trade-in value was about half of the repair value, so they're not very interested. He says we can maybe get a little bit of life out of it in the bullock pit just until it dies, or we can put it out and scrap it and see what we get.
So they will give him some trade on it or none?
No, he said they would have given him about 30, in the range of 30 to 36 on trade, and it's going to cost about 71 to fix.
Yeah, but trade's better than nothing if we're buying a new one.
They're not interested in trading for it because they would be upside down $40,000.
So that trade-in value is after it's repaired.
Oh,
Yeah.
got it.
So,
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
After the repair.
and is that in their budget or is this something,
It's not in their budget.
where do we get that from then? Just from the capital fund or?
C road funds. There's about $1.2 million sitting in the C road funds.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Jason's sitting there quietly.
Then we'll bring that back, like we said on the other one. Are there any other staff comments? No. Okay, then we'll move on to our public agenda with public comment portion. Yes.
Phil Schmidt. Just a question. We have a new stoplight on Cove Drive now on Highway 56 in Cove, which I think it's a good thing. However, there's not they put in, there's really 4 lanes there and there's not room for 4. There's a right turn, a straight through, a left turn, and then a road to come up Cove Drive. A truck cannot, if you're on Highway 56, they've narrowed that up so bad that you can't make the turn to go up Cove Drive anymore. They're going to tear the front end off of cars. And so My question is, or maybe we could look into it, is if we could combine the left turn lane and the straight lane into just one and open up that side over there on the far west lane. It's just way too narrow. It's way too tight. Semis can't do it, and it's even complicated for cement trucks or whatever. And so, and I really don't know why they did it, because straight through just goes into the parking lot on the other side of the road. And so I've just questioned, or if we could look at that, combine the straight and the left turn.
Are you talking about the left turn going onto 56? Or are you talking about coming 56 onto Cove Drive?
No, if you're sitting on Cove Drive,
Right.
okay, you have a right turn, you have a straight through,
Okay.
you have a left turn, and then you have the oncoming lane
Sure.
to come up.
Sure.
They
so
narrowed that up about 10 feet. And so what I'd like to see is if you could take the left turn and the straight through and put them on the same lane. Because the straight through just goes across Highway 56
Sure,
into
to-
the parking lot.
Never
Right.
use it.
So,
Right.
one car a week maybe is
Mhm.
going to use that.
Mhm.
And so
You know,
it's just an accident waiting to happen, because if you're on this side and if there's 2 or 3 people so that the car can't back up,
Sure.
you're going to tear the front end off, or you're going to have a wreck there. It's
Well,
just
you're gonna-
Is there a reason that the state did that, Kit?
Well, they have their
Standards, I know.
Yeah, engineers design them, and that there is that straight through going to the north there, but
But it just goes, he says, goes into Turner's or.
well, it does, but there's actually a industrial subdivision down there, and there's a road stubbed out of that industrial subdivision that's going to turn and go up to that signal line.
well, anyway,
Yeah.
there's not enough traffic right now to warrant that.
Right.
And even if you did do that, there's other roads in town that have a combined either straight and a turn on the same lane.
Mhm.
Anyway, it's just a comment or a question. If we could evaluate that, I know
Yeah.
56 is a state road, but it's a bad situation, and you just wrecks waiting to happen right
Makes
there.
total sense to me. If you had doubles, if you had a truck with a double
I
on
had,
it, you could
all
run
my
right over the
trucks
top
now.
of
I
it.
don't send any trucks that way anymore. We can't. We can't afford the risk. So all our trucks go down, go up past the rodeo grounds, and go up the steeper hill, or else go clear down to Walmart.
Kid,
We avoid that intersection from now on.
are there red curbs on both sides of that at 56?
Yeah, there is.
Yes.
There are. So at least we're not
Yeah,
competing with parked cars.
but you can't, because there's no room.
No, that's what, that was my point.
Anyway, I appreciate the stoplight. I know that's a state thing, but it's just that really needs to be looked at.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
As hard as it may be for somebody, usually they justify those modifications by accident history.
Well, great.
Yeah, but the turn lanes and the turn signals are all on city streets, because Cove is a city street, correct?
Yes. Mhm.
So can we legally make the modifications?
No, we can't make the modifications.
Well, because they'd have to
They're
program
designed
the
by
light
UDOT
too.
engineers
I'm
to
sorry.
They'd have
basically
to program the light.
accommodate the UDOT road.
Mhm.
So
Okay, I haven't been out there yet, so.
I'd rather not have dualies go over my daughter's Civic on that intersection.
Yeah.
I think it feels right on the money.
Yeah, I've heard others
Well, then we need
complaining
to-
about it.
Then we
too.
need to at least revisit it. We can't just let it sit.
I'll contact UDOT tomorrow and
Okay.
see what they can do.
Are there any other public comments?
Good evening, Tom Jett. Upstairs, in the last few months, we've had some changes. We now have a female building inspector. Absolute, everybody I talk to, and I talk to a lot of people that are contractors, say she's just top-notch, professional, and great to work with. And I think that's just fantastic. We are the first in Iron County to have a female inspector, and that's a great step up for all the young women out there to know that there are options available other than, I'm going to call them the traditional jobs. I think that's wonderful. The young lady that replaced her, Miss Lamoureux, I can't think of her first name, but she's a delightful lady. So what I'm saying, LaFontaine, I'm sorry, LaFontaine. Thank you. She's just an absolute delight. She's helpful. Well, I'll just tell you, I'm computer, not even literate. I'm just illiterate. And she's just been absolutely a help every time I've gone in there to find something or look something up. She's just absolute a delight. And it goes along with my saying that I told Mayor Joe Burgess that our slogan for our city should be, we're here to help. Because that is the attitude upstairs. They are here to help, not to hinder. They're not your enemy. They truly are your friend when it comes to getting things done and helping you walk through it. So just wanted to bring that to your attention because it's the right choices were made.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Anyone else? No? Okay, then we'll move on to our business agenda with our public portion. Item number 1, consider the vicinity plan for the Paradise Townhomes PUD.
Bob Platt, Mayor and City Council. This is a little project up by Dairy Queen on the corner of Spruce and Paradise Canyon Road. And I guess we're going to look at it. It's a 4-townhome PUD. It's been through Planning Commission, has met all the ordinances, and there it is. Excellent. Like I say, this is the intersection of Spruce and Paradise. Vacant lot, been vacant forever. And proper zoning, all's in place. But instead of making them apartments, he wanted to make them for sale.
They have the proper parking off street, right? Because that's a bad corner for
Yes.
anyone to be trying to.
Between the garages and the front driveways, yes.
Okay.
I need to ask a question. Maybe Tyler, you can help me understand this because I have no problem with the project per se, but it seems to me we're being asked tonight to approve not to approve, to discuss and walk through it. But I've driven by it to look at it, and the foundations are already in. I mean, how can that?
They put in piers and it's just sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's as far as they've gone. And that was not that's
Right.
just the way it is. And I didn't,
Okay, well,
Mistake-
I'm glad to know that
you
because
need to
it's
know that I staked the location of the piers because they needed to know where to put them.
okay. That's fine. I'm just glad to know that because it seemed like they were trying to assume that it had all been a done deal before it had been a done deal. You know, I don't have a problem with the project. Really, I don't.
I totally hear you. Cart before the horse.
Yeah.
They were initially started out thinking project review as apartments, and then later on they changed them to
Right.
townhomes.
This one.
But it's on hold.
All right.
Okay.
So there will be a penalty assessed because this is a PUD. If they went in and grubbed before getting final approval, then that's based on a percentage. So that comes up from time to time.
No, I'm just glad to know that.
Are there any other comments, questions?
So just quick, Bob, I just want to make sure I'm clear. This vicinity plan, it's contingent upon the Valley View subdivision. Are these tied together?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is tied also to number 4.
Okay, so next week in the action meeting, I'll make sure we vote on that prior to this, just so.
That'd be great. Thank you.
So how do you want this on the agendas?
I think
Do you want this on the action then, since that?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
we have to.
Okay, item number 2, public hearing to consider an ordinance amending the zone from residential agriculture to R1, property located at 2800 West, 1800 South.
Don Larson with Levitt Land and Three Peaks Engineering, and this is what in our RDO that we got approved for Iron Horse. This is basically pods 2 and 6, which are at the very south end of the property, right above the Eagle Ridge and Canyons subdivisions. And what we're doing is, with this, is just zoning it to the R1, which is what was planned for with the RDO.
It's that big section right there.
Yeah, it's all this crosshatched area.
Oh, all the crosshatch.
Yeah, all of this crosshatch. The lines are shown to show you that this was pod 6 in the RDO and this was pod 2. But we were crossing over with our proposed vicinity plan, so we just basically rezoned the whole pods. That's what they were to be as far as the RDO goes, was R1.
And is that a road going through the middle of there? What is that?
No, that's just a
Show
line
this.
that kind of follows the hill, and that was kind of just a separation. There isn't any roads up here yet. This, along the top, is the master plan road. I mean, it's not built yet or not dedicated, but that's where the master plan road comes over from Home Depot.
And it goes where?
It goes right along the top of this, where this zone changes.
Right.
Where's the veteran cemetery?
Back to the right. If you want to, if you look right here, you can kind of see it. It's right there by the, as you come up from Home Depot, the veteran cemetery is on the left. That road will continue over to this point right here and become the upper boundary of these parcel, of this area.
Well, for me, again, I have to say, I am not concerned about making the change proposed here, but what I am concerned about, and I've had a talk with Brent a little bit about this, was the road situation. Because I do think that we need to give some consideration to those people in Eagle Ridge. We just keep approving subdivision and subdivision, and I hear them. I agree with them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the solution is, but I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around making approval for this, not in its theory, but until we find a way to address traffic. I don't know how my other council members feel about that, but.
Well, the next item number 3, is actually the proposed vicinity plan for this.
Mm-hmm.
And when we originally started the process, we had offered I say we, but the Sitla and the developers had offered to put in just a 26-foot wide temporary road over to tie in there by Home Depot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's still an option that can be done. It's just that we took it off of here because not all the staff was for it. So
yeah, I understand that, and I read all of those minutes from the Planning Commission meeting. But I guess I need some guidance from my fellow council members and from staff over here, because I think this is an issue, and I don't think we can just walk away from it and pretend it's all going to go away, because it won't. And I know we have a policy here where when roads are developed, when the development is done, but there's development on the other end that's already done. And I'm wondering if what we can come up with is a way to help alleviate this, even if the developer has to back pay the city or something when that area is developed. If we can't build it to the standards, I mean, if they can't currently build it to the standards we're expecting, we have a problem on the other end. So how do we as a city address that problem until the development is done?
So what about their development is going to be substandard?
What development is substandard?
You just asked the question, if this developer can't build the project to the standard we expect, then what are we going to do? I'm asking you,
they'll build, as I understand, I don't want to speak for you, as I understand it, they'll develop it to our standard for the portion that they're developing.
Yeah, the lots and everything is all to the standards and everything. The part that's not would be the temporary road that goes over and ties in.
I can't see the
because
little arrow.
The cost there would just be astronomical to do curb, gutter, sidewalk, sewer, water, asphalt, the whole thing.
But that astronomical cost is one the developer's going to pay when they develop those lots.
Right.
Correct.
Right. They'll end up paying it, but what they offered to do was do a temporary double chip seal type road that can then be torn up and constructed to the city standard as it's built.
Right.
That's what the proposal was.
And I know we were not the developers. The city was not the developer for Eagle Ridge. I understand that. But those people are our citizens too. And I don't live there. This isn't about that, but it's like we have got to do something. It seems like we're trying to take care of people that are going to move here, people that want to move here, but we've got to take care of the people that live here. So there's got to be a way that we can look at this. I don't have the answer. I don't have the solution.
I agree with you.
But we've got to find some way to make this work, or we just can't keep approving all these subdivisions.
Mayor, can we snapshot a larger snapshot? I'm really confused where, I realize that's down by Eagle Fallon Ridge.
Well, these two pods are right at the furthest
They're
what,
north
south?
of north of
Just
Eagle
north of
Ridge.
Eagle Ridge,
Eagle
the south end of the RDO.
So
correct?
basically, they're right at the top of this right here.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Right here's the Eagle Ridge, and then the Canyons one is the one that's being built right here. It's just gotten finished, and this is right above that.
And when you're talking about a road, a temporary road, a double chip seal road, whereabouts are you looking?
What we're proposing is from the upper part of this phase, this first phase, that we build a road up and over and tie in here.
Oh.
But that is too far to build a standard road with all the costs. There's just no way. So that's why they offered, well, if we could do it to a temporary road cross section that then will be upgraded as you build along it, then that's something that they would look at.
And that would take that traffic away,
Correct.
totally away from us.
Well, I
Seems
think
logical to me.
most of the people, and probably even some here, would use that to get over there, just because they wouldn't have to wind through.
So it might help
subdivision.
everybody a little bit.
We've got roads like that in town. If you look at this development right here, here's one of those roads right here that's just been a double chip seal for the last 15, 20 years. That
Is it-
people can access between these two subdivisions.
Okay, yeah, I know we're talking about up over the dike there. Yeah.
That whole
Well, and
access
South
out of
Mountain-
Eagle Ridge to Westview Drive is a double chip
Yeah,
sealed
the
road.
South Mountain Drive was done the same
And-
way.
and South Mountain Drive is the same.
It's a
Adding,
double chip.
adding a
seal.
road like that's going to make it better, not worse, in my opinion.
I think the concern was with staff and maintaining it once it's done.
Right.
That's
And I don't want to pretend to fully understand that because I don't.
no, I don't want to.
But I know it's an issue, and I just think we need to try and find a way to fix this, because we keep having all these developments on the south end, and we have two roads and two roads only.
But that's going to give you another road.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying.
I think it's going to help it, not hurt it.
Well, and one thing that we had talked, this was way back before we got to this, was possibly you could do a special improvement district, build that road, and then the developer pays you back when they build along it. But I don't know that special improvement districts are as popular as they once were.
Well, I don't
But
think they
that-
were ever very popular, were they?
But I'm just saying, if you were talking about that, then the developer pays you back, that's how that, I mean, that could be done that way. I don't know if that's, I'm not trying to ask for that. I'm
Right.
just saying that's an option.
Yeah, the problem with the special improvement districts is we don't get paid back, and we end up carrying
It could take,
bad debt, and we pay the
Years.
loss out of the general tax funds of the city.
yeah. So I know that they're not a good way to do it, but just saying that's something that,
Well, unfortunately, for me, we're stuck between a rock and a hard place, because I'm not opposed to this in theory, and I think the R1 is exactly where it needs to be. But I have a real time voting for it if we don't have other traffic issues, other ways to deal with the traffic for more houses in that area. And it will apply right into number 3.
yeah.
That's what I wonder. Is there any way that you can start at the east end of the RDO and,
Well,
and work that way, or what?
If that was, I mean, if we can't develop right here, then that's the logical place you'd have to start. But the problem there is, once you get over the top of the hill, all the sewer goes west. So now you've got to run a sewer line across here somewhere, and that becomes a big, so there's costs on all sides.
Sure.
And there isn't really, the easiest one was phase one, and that's why it's started and it's going right now. So and the second one that they were looking at was this one, only because sewer and water and everything is right there. The next spot after this was going to be right at the top of the hill, but there's issues there. I mean, you can sewer the first part of it because it'll sewer right down past Home Depot. But once you go over the hill, now it's got to sewer the other way. There's a water pressure problem up on top because the tanks that are there do not provide enough water pressure. So there's going to have to be a pump system put in to increase the water pressure, or another tank across over here. So there's a lot of problems with just starting on the east side.
What about like in this area? Is there any other master plan roads coming down here that would be?
There isn't anything master planned. There's things that we've talked about as part of these, but the master plan roads really go from Home Depot across to the middle, and then from South Mountain Drive to Cross Hollow Road. That's the main ones.
But what about you guys, as far as in developing that? Is there a planned road coming out of there that you could develop instead of going all the way across the hill?
You mean from
pod 2, pod 6.
From these
here,
to get out?
You go east and hit this road to get out.
We haven't really looked at that. I don't know that. I mean, we haven't really laid out lots on everything, so
Right.
I don't know.
You run into some private ground there.
There will be some. There is part of it comes right down to the frontage road. Part of the property does, but the ideal spot, which is this little canyon right here, that dirt road comes out into private property. So that
Right.
I don't know if that'll. I don't know. We haven't really looked at that.
So are you looking at helping finance the chip sealed road, or
Well,
are
well,
you talking?
What
that
we're
the
saying
city's
is,
going to bear the whole
no,
cost?
what we're
if we did
saying
that?
is we would pay for the double chip seal road. We would grade it, we would put down road base, do a double chip seal. And then as it develops, we would tear out that double chip seal and put in asphalt, curb gutter, sidewalk, and everything. The problem, I think, that the cost is the maintenance after it's in place. I think that's where the concerns with the road department are.
Do we know how long what is the distance we're talking about?
Do you remember, Brett?
3 miles? Is it 5 miles?
No. It's probably it's probably 1,400 feet. It's it's not a short distance by any means.
Yeah, but it's not South Mountain Drive.
No. That South Mountain Drive is quite a bit longer.
So when would we take ownership of the road?
Well, if it's Chip Seal Road, we're gonna be taking ownership of it, as soon as it's done.
Immediately.
Because it's like this South Mountain Drive and this other road. We have to do periodic maintenance on those roads to keep them.
So wouldn't we be receiving money,
I think what
funds for
happens
that
is
to maintain it?
No, it would go into our normal road rotation. We would maintain it like we do the rest of our streets, and it would be out of our C road money and our general tax funds.
I think part of that is the road would be dedicated to the city, and there'd be a design done and everything. So it's not like it's just going to go out and push the rocks
Right.
and pave it. It would be. It's just you wouldn't build the entire road right now.
Right. And one thing we might want to look at, it's not going to be a whole lot of difference in cost for a double chip seal as it is just for 2 lanes of asphalt.
Well, that's what I was going to get at,
Yeah.
is how much are you saving by doing that? If you got to pay for it, then pay to take it back out and do it right.
Well, it's still way cheaper than
Right,
putting
shouldn't say
in
right, but
asphalt,
Yeah.
curb and gutter, sidewalk for that
oh,
whole
yeah,
distance.
yeah, I get that, but
Yeah, it's quite a bit cheaper. So that's what they're saying is they could spend them that much money. They can't go to the next extent and say, well, we'll just put in the whole entire road.
yeah, and that would be advantageous. And you're saying to you to put that in and pay that now, even though that money goes away and you got to
And then
start
when
all
they
over.
come back, they have to, because the grading would put it to the correct grade. So that wouldn't have to be done later.
Right.
Even the road base and stuff put down would be
Sure.
to a design. So
I'm
it
just-
wouldn't be totally throwing it away.
Okay. I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, that's,
I know where you're at, but I'm
Yeah.
trying to work with developers for years.
All right.
So
Are there additional questions right now from the council before we have our public hearing? Okay, then we'll open the public hearing on this item.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
thanks, Ron.
There is anyone? Okay, then we will close the public hearing. Is there anything else? This will go on their action agenda.
We have some homework to do before.
Okay. Item number 3, consider the vicinity plan for the Saddle Black subdivision phase 1 Iron Horse RDO.
Ron Larson, Three Peaks Engineering. This is basically what we're proposing as the first phase, and it would connect here where it goes into the Canyons subdivision, and it would be fully built up to this point, and then from there is where the double chip seal would go. So all of these developed lots here would have everything: sewer, water, curb gutter, sidewalk, the whole thing. So this is all normal standard stuff. It's just beyond that is when the road would change.
And these are what, about 37 units or 40 units, something like that?
I think
can't
it's
remember.
37 or
Yeah, I
38,
can't
something
remember
like that.
exact- Okay.
Then are you projecting that would give you enough revenue at that point?
They're
Once you sell
comfortable
those to
doing
help,
it.
then you could,
They're comfortable with this much that they can put that in as a double chip seal across the top. The other thing that happens is this is about all they can do. They can do a few more, but this is about all you can do before you get to 80 lots with the rule of 80 lots for it because of the ones down below. So the next phase would have to provide another access. So in reality, the next phase is probably going to go right up that road so that they can just build it up there. But phase 1, this is what is proposed right now.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? This is on the action agenda. Okay, item number 4, public hearing to consider an ordinance approving the request to amend the plat of the Valley View subdivision.
Bob Platt again, Platt and Platt. So this is tied into our little 4-unit townhome project. This property is in the Valley View subdivision, right?
Is that are those the lots just kind of to the north of where the piers are right now?
Yeah. Okay. So here's the property right here. Okay. So the piers are in here. This property right here is in the part of the Valley View subdivision, which was platted, it's coincidentally by my father in about 1950. So it's old subdivision. Okay. But in order for this, you can't do a PUD on this property without vacating this portion out of the Valley View subdivision. So that's what this is, to just vacate this ground out of the Valley View subdivision so we can do a PUD on it. That's all this is.
Okay.
And this has been to Planning Commission too, and reviewed by city staff and the city surveyor and so forth.
Does the council have any questions before we open the public hearing?
No.
Where exactly is that on this map?
Yeah, can you show us?
Now
on that?
show me Dairy
Where-
Queen and I'll show you.
I'm
That's
still
kind of a
moving.
destination point, kind of like Hermes, you know.
so you better get that in there.
I had to get that in, didn't I? You
Well
know?
played.
Whatever. Okay, so where are we at? This is,
Is that considered offsite advertising?
that was not supposed to be an advertisement. Is that Dairy Queen?
No.
Oh, so we're right here. There's where we are, kid, right here. And Sage White's dental office is right there, and Will Bishop's in that building, and then these are some
So
apartments.
the
right
lots
there.
are where exactly?
Well, there's one's right. It's 2 parcels, and they're right there.
Look at them.
It's vacant. Yeah. Been vacant
So which is
forever.
the piece that we're adding to that, then the Valley View
That's
lot?
my
What we're vacating, it's these 2
Yeah.
parcels right here. The boundary is all that right there.
Yeah, it's okay. That is the lots I drove, the vacant
Yeah.
area I drove by today. Okay.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So we're not taking anything down. They're just vacant right now. They're already vacant.
They're vacant. They've been vacant.
Yeah.
I don't think there's ever been anything on them.
No, hasn't.
Okay.
Then we'll open the public hearing on this item. There's anyone? Okay, we'll close the public hearing and move this on to our action agenda. Item number 5, consider approving a road dedication at 5300 West, 1200 North.
I should make Brent get up for this one. Ron Larson, Three Peaks Engineering. This is the road out at Port 15, which was part of when we did the minor lot for the GoX parcel for them to purchase.
Mhm.
And it's been through all the meetings before, but it just never made it for the final meeting here. So this is the actual road dedication for that road. So it's basically right at across the railroad tracks, and it takes off, and then it comes down parallel to the railroad tracks. And it basically skirts that 20-acre parcel that GoX purchased.
For me, the only question I have, and this is really a technical question. I know their proposal is they want to name this GoX Drive, which I don't have a problem with, but heaven forbid the company doesn't last very long. How difficult it is to rename a road? I don't want to be tied to something and go, wait a minute.
No,
You just bring it to the city council.
All right.
you can change the name tomorrow if you want.
All right. Thank you. I thought so, but I wanted to make sure.
No, that's a good
All right.
question.
Any other questions, comments? We good with this going on the consent agenda?
Hey, all right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move to our staff portion with item number 6, consider resolution authorizing South Central Communication to relocate vehicles.
So we have representatives from South Central here, and I'll let them explain the bigger picture of the program. The resolution, so basically every summer when we chip seal a section of town, we go in and we flyer the area first and say, hey, folks, we're going to be doing road maintenance through these dates. Don't park your cars on the street, please, because we need to do road maintenance. And if you're on the street, we're going to hook your car up and tow it around the block or to the next available street. That's what South Central wants to do with their program. And I'll let you explain your program.
Thank you. So Luke Geddes with South Central Communications. What we're asking from the city is an extension of the Utah State code that would allow us to move vehicles if they were in a construction zone. We've outlined a plan that would really adhere to what the current code asks for: 72-hour advance notices on door knockers and flyers on vehicles that are parked on that side of the construction. And what we're looking for is really just specifically is the city or is a local highway authority can delegate that to a company to be able to move those vehicles just to a location that is outside of the construction area. And so what we are looking for and asking is for the city to extend that out to us so that we can continue to expand our fiber network.
So what is your timing and scope of work? I mean, are there particular parts of the community you're going to work in? Just can you give us some visibility to what you're
Great question.
intending?
So we have a pretty expansive fiber network right now, an extensive fiber network inside of Cedar City that's currently in place, and we're looking to continue to build out that fiber network through 2020. And through the process that we're looking to do, it's micro trenching, and by micro trenching, we'd be digging lines right next to the curb and gutter, so it makes it less intrusive to the road. It's a lot quicker, more efficient, and by doing that, that's where the cars and vehicles are generally parked. And so, because of that, this is the reason why we're asking for that. But we would like to see as much fiber being built as there's a request for it.
Micro trenching is how wide and how deep?
It's about an inch, and I believe it's 12 to it's an inch wide, and it's about 12 to 16 inches deep. Which is
when
obviously
you
very
say
nice.
as much as requested, so you're only doing this when requested. You're not trying to build fiber throughout the city to make fiber available. It has to be requested.
We would like the availability to build as much fiber inside of the city as there is a demand for.
I hear there's a great demand for it.
We hear there's a great demand for it as well.
and I will confirm that.
Are you able to tell like what parts of town you're starting this in? Or?
We would like to have the approval to be able to do this throughout all of Cedar City. So when there's a request and there's a desire for it, we'd be able to do it all over the city of Cedar.
So what is the time frame? I mean, we're starting in January, but is this going to be a year-long project, 6 months, 2 years? What are we looking at?
We're anticipating right now, we have a current franchise agreement with the city that allows us to do the micro trenching. And so we're just really looking for an extension on that franchise agreement that would allow us to move the vehicles while they are in our way through the construction.
So if we move ahead and we approve this resolution, I mean, is this as long as the franchise agreement's in place, or what are we agreeing to?
I would like to, I guess, present right now for 2020. And if we would need something extended past that, we would make an additional request. But for the time being, I would request for 2020.
Are there other companies that do the similar process?
Yeah, right now this is a kind of the trend that's happening right now in the Wasatch Front, as well as that goes hand in hand with what UDOT's requesting.
You put a conduit in?
Correct.
And would other companies be able to use that same conduit or not?
No, this would be South Central.
Can they go on top of you? So you go 1 inch wide, 16 deep. Can the next company come in and go 15 deep, 14?
It's 12 to 16 inches deep, and we aren't requesting to have any kind of exclusive agreement. So if the city would like to have another company come in and put fiber or conduit in the ground, that would be completely
Does
up to
that
the
prevent
city.
other companies from coming in after you and doing the same process?
No, I mean they would just have to do
Be a little shallower.
Well, that and there would just need to be the
Or they'd have to move over.
Yeah.
it either would have to move or it would have to be shallower than ours, obviously, because you wouldn't be able to do it.
Of course, but
I guess
I'm
blue
excited.
staking- the
I'm
blue
not
staking,
sure I'm
I guess, is
excited
what
about
I meant.
somebody cutting our road further in if they're going to do it.
Well, and that's currently how all of it's being done right now, or that's under sidewalks, and this is a lot less intrusive on the sidewalk and vehicles parking. The roads themselves, generally, when there's fiber that's going through, you have to close a road entirely. This would allow for the road to continue to maintain or
and you're going to be
open.
responsible for all of the repair to asphalt and
That's correct. So
everything else.
yeah, so generally there's a mixture that would go over on top of that, So with it being just an inch wide, cars would still be able to go into driveways and things like that while the trench is open. And it's generally a couple days after when the conduit goes in that we would fill that with a mixture.
So let's say this got agreed to and January 1st hits. Where are you going to start?
That's a great. We're planning to start where there's the
greatest
largest
demand. I know.
Yes.
But I mean, are we talking? Is that in Fiddlers? Is it up on the hill? Is it in the commercial district?
Must be my neighborhood.
It's again, I would like to answer that for you right now. I don't have that answer. It's we really are looking to where there's the most demand. We're not planning on doing it where any particular location other than where there's the largest demand for service.
Luke, do you have overhead infrastructure in town?
Yes, there is.
And would you continue to use overhead construction to install infrastructure? Not everything's going to get in the trench, right?
Yeah, I would say that wherever there's power lines with Rocky Mountain Power, that we're able to use those utilities and there's room on those lines. We do use overhead lines, but unfortunately, there's not a lot of that in certain areas of the city, so that does require us to go down those roads.
Go ahead.
All right. Are there additional questions? This will go on the action agenda where it's a resolution.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that it's not exclusive. I mean, that if other companies do come forward and want to do broadband and fiber work, that we can't.
None of our franchise agreements are exclusive.
All right.
We're not looking for any kind of an exclusive agreement or anything. We're just.
I mean, I'm not nothing against Southwest Central. I just want to make sure that we're not.
Yeah, absolutely. All we're asking
Here's
for,
South Central
since we do the franchise agreements are in place, all we're looking for is just you to extend that to us to allow us to move vehicles. And realistically, it's going to be either around the block or across the street.
What's realistic if another company wants to come in? Obviously, it'd have to be, how far apart would those have to be? I mean,
yeah, I don't have the requirements for how far trenching, or I mean, how far the conduit needs to be placed. It could be placed almost on top of it.
Narrow trencher, right? And what do you hit boulders very often? Larger rocks?
Generally, this goes down as far as the road base.
Right.
So hopefully,
Generally not.
Yeah, and the great thing about doing it this way is you miss out on a lot of the water, the sewer, and the gas lines by doing it at the depth that we're looking at. So And with that said, we're also willing to adhere to all of the requirements where if the city ever requests us to move those fiber lines because of things, we're happy to do so. We did it last week for the city on 48-hour notice, right there on 56. So
Don't we have another franchise agreement that's approved with InfoWest or something?
Yeah.
So is it just like the first one that gets there to dig a trench, or
InfoWest
do we
has
need?
a franchise with us. TDS has a franchise with us. South Central has a franchise with us.
Extenet was one we did recently.
Okay.
So you come in and get a normal road break permit for these installations?
yeah, we will do all the proper permitting before that's done with the city. Get those approved.
Well, I know you can't tell me this. I'm just trying to make sure. How can we make the community aware that this might be happening? So I know you're going to put the things on the doors and all that sort of stuff when you determine where you're going to go. But is there kind of a public relations campaign or a media campaign you guys are thinking about rolling this out of new fiber in Cedar City beginning in 2020?
Well, again, I mean, all we're asking for right now is just for the city
Ability to move the cars.
to move vehicles. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right,
Yeah,
thank
and
you.
with that said, there's a letter that we've submitted that outlines the requirements that we will provide for notice for.
Yeah, we read that.
Okay. Yeah. Fantastic.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Luke.
it.
All right, item number 7, consider the 2020 meeting schedule.
I have one question. And I believe it's in the month of September. I noticed that we don't have a meeting on the 23rd because it's the league meetings. And we skipped the 30th, which I recognize is usually the 5th Wednesday of the month. But then we have a work and action on the 7th, I think. This is off the top of my head. Okay. Could we not meet on the 30th and just keep it so it follows our regular pattern of action work? I guess I better look at Tyler on this too, because he'll be up here. Or is there a reason? I mean, maybe there's a reason. I don't know. That was my only question.
So you want to meet on the 30th?
Well, so we don't have to double up on
We just don't
the
do it on the 5th.
7th, I think it
that.
is. I can't remember what one of them is.
There isn't a
working
real
it.
great reason other than we
Well,
just
no, you don't have to.
don't meet on the 5th Wednesday.
Well, I recognize that.
That was literally the reason.
Yeah.
If
No,
you would rather do that, we can.
Well, I don't know. It's just sometimes it
Would you
depends.
rather have a day off?
I don't know,
instead?
guys. I don't know. It doesn't
Or
matter.
we could leave it this way.
I don't
and
know
when
how
we
long.
get-
I don't know how long the action and work meetings sometimes
then why
are.
don't we leave it? And when we get closer to that time, we can change it.
Fine. Fine by me.
The mayor will be here, so they'll be short.
Yes. Okay. So are we good with the proposed? The difference is the sheet that's in front of you.
Yeah, it's got carried over. Yeah.
I started it with July 29th. It should have been, so I adjusted that on that sheet there.
Okay. Are we good with that going on the
Well, you
consent
don't want to meet
agenda?
on New Year's Day?
Well, you know,
Yeah. Okay. Got a
Okay.
big screen. We can watch a football game right here.
Focus. Are we good with this being on
Yeah,
the-
we're really good with this.
Okay,
being
this
on
will
the
be on the
So
consent
I-
agenda. Perfect. Thanks.
I move that we adjourn this meeting so we can get the mayor home to her child.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
That's a good reason.
I thought so.